If you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody could convict you.
When you look at the origins of the pandemic, the virus, God bless you. Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Senator,
they want somebody like Senator Ted Cruz regulating your uterus.
We need action. And what is so infuriating is every time there's a mass shooting, Democrats in this chamber stand up and they don't actually want to do something to stop the murderers. Instead, they want another gun control bill to disarm law-abiding citizens that won't actually stop the murders, that won't actually protect our kids.
I have very little interest in engaging on the merits of these proposals in a dialogue on the floor of the Senate because they are not serious attempts to make our kids safer. Last summer, there were serious legislators who come to this floor to enact legislation to set aside our differences and pass legislation that makes our kids safe, willing to make compromise. Senator Cruz didn't even sniff that room.
Did Hunter Biden have any qualification to be on that board other than the job his daddy had at the moment?
I am not familiar with his resume, sir.
Okay. He was paid $83,000 a month by this Ukrainian oligarch. You're an expert in Ukraine. Have you ever been paid $83,000 a month?
I'm a public servant, sir. I've never served on a corporate board.
Did Joe Biden do anything that benefited the corrupt oligarch who was paying his son?
Vice President Biden led our efforts to fight corruption in Ukraine.
Let me ask you the question again. Did Vice President Joe Biden do anything that benefited the corrupt oligarch who was paying his son $1 million a year?
He did not.
Did getting that prosecutor fired benefit that oligarch?
thank you, Senator Cruz. Senator Van
Are you
Hollen.
going to allow him to answer the question, Madam Chairman?
I am not going to allow him to answer the question.
Why are you covering for the Vice President? Do you not want him to answer that question? He said that the Vice President did nothing to benefit the oligarch.
I think it's unfortunate for you, Senator Cruz, to put in position that are uncomfortable the nominees to be our ambassadors.
Okay, will you allow him to answer the yes/no question?
Yes, you can answer yes or no. Thank you.
The prosecutor who was fired by the Ukrainian parliament did nothing to investigate Zlochevsky, and everything that Vice President Biden, the State Department, and the U.S. Embassy did acted in good faith to reduce corruption and help the Ukrainian people.
So firing him did not benefit the oligarch.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Senator Van Hollen.
You're protecting the president well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just say at the beginning, and I think you underscored this in your testimony, that there's been absolutely no evidence, zero, including in the Johnson-Grassley investigation, that suggesting that the State Department, you, or the Vice President Biden at the time, or any other officials made any changes to U.S. policy because of Hunter Biden's role on Burisma's board. Isn't that true?
Yes, Senator.
And Senator Cruz, if he'd read the results of the investigations conducted in the Congress itself and the testimony, would know that full well. I wish we saw the same level of outrage back in the day when the Trump administration was withholding badly needed weapons to Ukraine in order to get the Ukrainian government at the time to come up and manufacture dirt on the Biden family. I didn't hear a lot from my colleague, Senator Cruz, complaining about that.
They include a book called Anti-Racist Baby by Ibram Kendi. And there are portions of this book that I find really quite remarkable. One portion of the book says babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There is no neutrality. Another portion of the book, they recommend to babies confess when being racist.
I do not believe that any child should be made to feel as though they are racist or though they are not valued, or though they are less than, that they are victims, that they are oppressors. I don't believe in any of that.
I don't know how you go home to Connecticut or New Jersey or Michigan and look in the eyes of a superintendent, look in the eyes of a teacher and say, no, I will not let you spend the money on school security. You know, when you go to the bank and you deposit money in the bank, there are armed police officers in the bank. Why? Because we want to protect the money we save. Why on earth do we protect a stupid deposit more than our children? Why, when it comes to this issue, the only thing that interests them is disarming the people at home who pose no threat, rather than protecting our kids.
These unanimous consent requests that Senator Cruz makes, they're going to get a lot of clicks online. The confrontation that he's looking for will probably lead to a bunch of cable news appearances being booked, but it's not going to save any kids' lives.